Okay, so for this video mainly we'll be going in using the flatten tool to give the panels themselves a much more hard surface look. So for the minute I'm just continuing on doing the last couple of strokes for what we were doing in the previous video. This is still using the wax tool with a small brush with the steady stroke on. So just coming in and redefining these panels. So I'm just redefining the straps along the back of the leg and coming down to the lower legs here as well to just tighten up the area of the shin panel itself. I've got them bumps in there for the minute for sort of like latches for the straps to attach themselves to the panel. So we can come in later on and redefine them a bit better, but we know that they're there, they are blocked out, and that's pretty much all we need for the minute. We'll continue on with redefining the bigger areas first. I sort of knew what I wanted for the shin guards here, but I think it was a small bit of trial and error to get the effect that I wanted. I don't know. It's okay how it turned out. I probably would have preferred it to be a bit better. And just redefining the feet and the boot areas there. I wanted to try to keep everything as even as possible, so if I was doing anything to one particular area, I wanted to make sure that it was happening to the rest of the model as well, and not to get lost in one area overall where it has a lot of detail and the rest of the model then suffers. So just jumping over to the opposite foot there to get the inside part of it instead of rotating around the model. You can tell because the two dots that are the mirror, the one with the circle around it is the actual brush that I'm using. That's the brush size. I wasn't too sure how the boots would go, but yeah, I thought I'd play around with it anyway, make some sort of, I don't know, air vents. Futuristic shoes, keep your feet from stinking. I'm just redefining the knees there again. As I said, I'll come in now in a minute and start flattening out these panels to make them look a bit more hard surface. So as you can see, overall he's starting to come together. He's looking a bit more solid. So here you can see that I jumped onto the flatten brush, and I'm going to try to go in and flatten off certain, well, in this case sections of this panel, and then the rest of the panels across the model. Just making the brush size bigger again by pressing and holding the B key and clicking with the stylus and dragging up or down. So especially on the knee pads here, you'll see in a minute now that using the flatten brush I can sort of come at it from different angles, and that will give me a nice crisp line in the center. So it might be a bit later on now. So you can see the difference that it's actually doing. Didn't want to overkill at the same time, but just flatten it out enough so that it looks like I suppose a sheet of metal or some sort of a panel by itself. And again, just going around the entire mesh, try to add this particular brush or this effect across the board. You can see now that that shoulder is starting to be much more defined. So from lower subdivision level to, you know, adding it in as a feature first of all, and then bumping up the subdivisions and going in with the steady stroke and building it up a bit more defined, and now coming in again with the flatten and just flattening down at certain angles. So you can see how all the tools are beginning to work hand in hand. Okay, so this is the knee pad that I was talking about. So you can get very nice sort of hard surface but angular shapes as well at the same time. So I'm flattening down on both the left and the right and the bottom of the knee area there, and you can see the sort of organically sort of metal shape that it's created. So basically just using the areas that we defined in the previous videos and using them to help us flatten down certain areas, as you can see on the feet there as well. So I'm trying that effect that I got on the knee there as well. So it's, I suppose it wasn't quite as successful there, but you get the impression, and at least you're seeing each of these techniques. So it's definitely coming on. It's moving on to the helmet area there, and you can see just again flattening that out, redefining shapes on it, give us a much more solid hard surface sort of look. Around the eyes, to be honest, I wasn't sure where the helmet would end and the face actually begins, so I may have difficulty texturing that up later. I can always come back with the knife tool maybe and just redefine certain areas on it so that it works a bit better, but we'll see how we get on with the rest of it. So I wanted the back part of it to blend in, so I'll probably be using the shift key as well with the flatten brush just to flatten and then smooth it off so it sort of becomes one. And as you can see at the back here, I sort of did the same. I think I smoothed it off a wee bit because I wasn't too happy how I left that from the previous video, but as you can see here, it's much more crisp and much more defined by just using the flatten tool. So I've just jumped back into the sculpt tool itself. I'm just holding the control key to dig in. I don't know if it's rocket jets or light, maybe rocket jets being on a backpack, but just smoothing them off then inside to give it a bit of depth. Okay, so it's coming on.